All right, let's get started. Howard will go ahead and pass it over to you for your updates. Then I have some as well, and then we'll go ahead and pass it over to Yvette to talk about the July membership meeting. Thank you all for coming. Howard?
Sure. Hello, everyone. To just update, the meeting with um I'm sorry, the DC Department of Planning. I'm still waiting. Well, actually, I wanted to talk with you all before I went to move forward with them because I didn't know whether we were having the meeting. So I guess well, I'm sorry, we are going to have the meeting, but I wanted to figure out kind of where we were having it at to decide on whether what to tell them next, because I think they would probably want to come in and present to the full membership. And so I wanted to let them know if they needed to bring anything in terms of laptops and all of that. I know that we talked about having the meeting downstairs in the cellar. If that's the case, then we absolutely could have them come and just plug their system or plug their laptop into the screen or the projector to have them present to us. So that's one thing. So I'm just waiting. At the end of this meeting, I'll better know how to move forward with them. But from what I understand, they may be available to come and give the presentation at our next full meeting. In terms of the Office of Tenant Advocate, I am still waiting for our treasurer to kind of to get his availability. For what I understand, Charles, our president, our secretary, and myself are all available on, I think it was Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, Thursday. This Thursday, I believe it was. I think it was this Thursday or next Tuesday. I'm not quite sure, but I know that we're all available for the meeting, and so I'm just waiting for the just get the availability from our treasurer before I go ahead and move forward with booking that appointment. And then in terms of the response to management, I know that last week during our resident social, our Taco Tuesday, we received, when management sent out this email at about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, whenever it was, a bunch of residents came up to us, you know, quite frankly upset and understandably. But then also, I know that Charles and I received emails from at least an email from one of a concerned member who was very concerned about the management essentially calling the cops on us without kind of giving us fair warning. So I've done some research, but I've ran into this before. This was I think a little pre-COVID, and then some issue during COVID. Where management essentially tried to shut down, some kind of the common spaces. And so even though we were under the mandate, there were certain things that they just can't do. We have to have egress and access to certain places. And so they found out that they couldn't do that, in fact. And so while this is not the same thing, I wanted to point that out. So I previously did research on that, and I put the my response that I drafted into a Google Doc for everybody to review. And hopefully everybody had a chance to do that, because I really want to get this out before this evening's Taco Tuesday event with the residents, just because I want to give them, kind of, number one, that we have been working on this. We're not ignoring their emails, and that that as long as we're inside, after 10 o'clock, then we should have no issue with management and the email. I know, Charles, you said you had you said you had a question or two regarding our response.
Yeah, I did. Let me see here. I have them written down. Um, So I'll say, like I said before, I love the approach. Thank you for getting that written for us. I want to make sure if we're going to cite legal that we are, you know, correct in our assessment and that we really have all the questions answered. So just 2 points of clarification I want to make sure I understand is your email makes a distinction between amenity space and community space.
Mhm.
And I just want to know where, in that statute that you cite, it makes that distinction and how we know exactly in the building what the difference is.
Yes, so it does make that distinction, and both I believe it is the let me give me one second. Oh, DC Tenant Pillar Rights is one, and then it also has the right to organize is another, which is the District of Columbia statute. 3505.06. And then also, just to differentiate the two, our own website states what our amenities are, and our amenity spaces. And so specifically says, our let me bring that website up. Give me 1 second. I did did do this research, so
Would you
I'm
mind
one
putting
percent
that link
sure about that.
in the chat so we can be looking at what you're looking at?
Oh, sure. So I'm gonna put sure, give me 1 second. So right now, when I'm putting in the chat, just for verbal, so I'm putting in the chat our our website, our HEX website, the building's website that has amenities listed. Give me 1 second. And so patio and grills are of course one, but then it also says the rooftop space, and a Ford demonstration kitchen. And so, where's the? Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm gonna. Okay, so that's the website, and then let me go to the statutes. Give me 1 second. So these statutes are really long. I don't know exactly because I cited all three of them, and it'd take me a while to kind of go through and read each one of them. But if you want to copy and paste the statutes into like a URL, it should bring those up. But yeah, so there's a difference between kind of the lobby areas and what's considered amenity spaces, and the management company cannot cannot dictate to us where like whether we can hang out in like say a lobby area or something that's not an amenity space. Now we can absolutely have amenity policies that says that okay, an amenity closes down at 10 o'clock. They can absolutely do that. But in terms of what's considered amenity space, I think it's very clear, and it does list on their website that the demonstration kitchen is considered amenity space. A lobby, an egress, or I can't actually get the whatever I quoted in the letter. I pulled that exactly from the statutes. And then also with the term in terms of calling the cops, that could be absolutely used as a term of as a retaliation and or or threatening to call the cops, which is also against this particular statute and the DC tenant bills of rights. So they are not able to do that. They should not be able to do that, or even threatening to do that. If we are within essentially our rights, which from what I understand, we are.
Awesome. I'm pulling up the statute that you mentioned. So you have two here. You have the Tenant Bill of Rights,
Mm-hmm.
and then you also have the tenant's right to organize.
Okay.
I think I'll clarify here, because I have not, you know, seen the, excuse me, the distinction there. But in
No,
terms
no,
of,
it may not be in that one. Then it's in when I cite I cite about three different statute DC codes, and then I also cite the tenant bill of rights. So it's in one of those. It may not be in the right to organize, but it's in one of the
so
codes that I stat.
So I would think it's in the tenant the Bill of Rights, the Tenant Bill of Rights. The tenant's right to organize is specifically referring to union organizing.
Absolutely, yeah, I know that.
Like this is good for us to have for sure. And I've gone through this, but it doesn't talk anything about amenity spaces.
Okay,
Um,
so it's not the one I'm talking about then. Check it
so let's see. You're
out.
talking. What was this form of the Office of the Tenant Advocate from 2015?
Yeah, okay, that's the tenant bill of rights.
Okay. Okay. So I guess that leads smoothly into my second question here then is So assuming we find the legal basis for the difference between an amenity space and a community space, it seems like the law says for both of them that they can't unreasonably interfere. Do we have a place that we can cite that says closing certain hours or having it at, have operating hours? Yeah, unreasonably interferes.
Right. No, so that's not I don't think that, well, that's not my argument, and I don't think that's what we should lead with. We're not saying that they don't have. We're not saying that them closing an amenity space down is a right is an interference of our rights. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that one that they are allowed to close an amenity space at 10 o'clock. However, the builder decides to do that, they can. What I think our argument should be that that space on the second floor is not considered an amenity space. Anything outside of
No,
the
I'm sorry. Let me clarify. I agree with you. I don't think we're.
oh, okay, okay.
I'm not saying about amenity spaces. I think pretty clearly, they have some rights there. What I'm saying is with community space, if we're arguing that, these areas are a community space,
Mhm.
and that the landlord can't unreasonably interfere with access to a community space. Uh,
Yes.
how are we arguing that having operating hours unreasonably interferes?
When we don't have, okay, so well, as far as I know, there's no operating hours in community spaces. And you're
May I
saying
may
yes,
I may I interrupt?
yes.
Um, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. They do have operational hours. Okay.
The
Um,
amenity space is
it
correct.
yes.
Yeah, of course.
It's
Yeah.
um because we've been through so many change of management, our new management company doesn't know what they are, right? But if we challenge them to do the research, it could be presented. Upon me doing so many events here, the seller, and I sent that to you. Well, I sent a long thing to the secretary in response, with my bio to the different questions from the minutes. There, if we challenge them, they can bring out what the true hours originated was, simply because the second floor, in consideration for the residents, people live above, so it was 9:30 that the doors locked to go out to the patio where the grills are on the second floor, meaning those windows, people live on the third floor and they can hear us, even a
Right.
murmur, even
Um,
conversation.
I think we're getting caught back up with the amenity versus community space. Yvette,
No,
we're
we're not.
agreeing with
May I
you.
finish? May I
I'm sorry.
finish?
I'm sorry. We're
That is an
agreeing.
amenity space. The
Got it.
grill and the
Correct.
second floor,
Right.
they are amenity spaces that are sold to us to use for entertainment or personal use. The hours of operation, if we challenge them and they pull out a document, it's going to say 9:30. Okay? But so that's true. When you stay on the third floor, their reasoning behind it was people can hear you in their windows and their bedrooms, which is a noise ordinance. On every floor, where we have the third floor, where we have three amenity spaces, residents used to just go out there at will and sit. The quiet spaces that are not utilized, but it's surrounded by windows. So they started locking the door at 9:30. The rooftop is not necessarily, if you're out there, fine. You can't get in after 9:30, but to say if one of us wanted to be out there and we already there, we can let someone in, because that is not such a noise disturbance area. But the person who lives on the last row apartment, they can complain. So the hours technically, if we force them to do the research, are 9:30. The only area that does not have this time frame is the cellar, because they call it the cellar because they say it's entrapped, enclosed, and the only noise that would be interference is in the lobby.
Um,
So they do have hours.
so
Right.
that
No.
that's
Right.
that's what we're saying, Yvette. We're agreeing with you where the grill area and the outside space that leads to those apartments where the noise was coming from, where the noise was going to, is an amenity space that they have the right to close at 9:30. What we're saying is there's a distinction between that space and the inside, away from the demonstration kitchen, that second floor seating area that we're saying is community space that does not have hours.
Yes.
Well, if it's listed technically, the second floor it encompasses the inside and the outside. But
No, that's actually no. That's actually not. That's incorrect. So the way that they have it written in our both on the website, and the way that they explained it, even in the email that they sent us, they were specifically talking about the outside patio area, which is absolutely an amenity space, which is what they have listed on it. I think the distinction that Charles and I are trying to get to is we're trying to figure out whether the seating area. I know that the actual kitchen where you can cook at, that's considered an amenity space. It's called it's a particular name, but this demonstration kitchen. Yes. Now that is the amenity. That area over to the side of that with the seating area, that's not considered the demonstration kitchen, nor is the area in where the seating is, like the lobby area, as is the lobby downstairs and the front. I'm sorry, the lobby, the main lobby is not considered an amenity space as well.
Okay, but I'm just saying that the second floor, like if you look at it,
area, of course, yeah, that's considered an amenity.
Architectural. They can't say I'm in agreement, but I'm just wanting us to get the verbiage right. We entertain on the second floor, and many people go outside. The complaints.
We're not talking about the outside area. We're not talking about that's we completely agree with management. That's shut down at 10 o'clock to respect the noise level and everything of our other residents. No, we're not arguing with that. That absolutely is an amenity space, and we're right to shut it down.
If the stoves were working, you can go down there if you wanted to cook all night. You can get on your computer.
Right. That would be incorrect, because that would be in an amenity space, and they're saying that shuts down at 10 o'clock as well. So the cooking of it and the fact that, and we did this and I think that from what I understand, it seemed that the management agrees with us, because on Friday night when the security came up to speak with us about the noise, I told them, I said, listen, as long as we had everything kind of cleaned off of the I guess that area next to the kitchen, in between the kitchen, that seemed to be okay, because we actually stayed out, in the seating area for quite some time after both the not the lobby area, I'm sorry, the demonstration kitchen and the patio were shut down, and that seemed to pacify, or at least the security did not have an issue with it, and neither did the front desk folks. And so that seemed to be that's what I'm thinking. I asked them about that.
Can I hop in here for 1 second?
Sure.
So I've been, while we've been talking, I've been reviewing the actual statutes that we're referencing. And it seems I'm looking at the section that the Tenant Bill of Rights was referencing, right? The Tenant Bill of Rights lists a number of different things, but then each of those direct to a different statute in which you can find that. It seems to say, when we're talking about a housing provider shall not unreasonably interfere with the tenant's comfort, safety, or enjoyment of a rental unit. The end of that sentence actually goes, for the purpose of causing a housing accommodation to become vacant. It seems we have cut that sentence short. I love the strength in which we're coming at this. I love the approach of because this is a community space in the building, we have access to it. I wonder if we want to see if we can't find some expert to look this over. I know we have a number of different questions going around. I would love to get it out for tonight, but I think it would be more embarrassing to get it out and be wrong than to wait a little while to get it out. And
sorry, which statute are you looking at again?
So I'm looking at it's 42-3402.10.
Okay. I don't
And
think that's the one then. The one that I actually referenced, I actually pulled that because it said something like the lobby area is considered community space. You know,
so you reference, so in your email here, you reference 42-3505 .02, which is the housing, which is the tenants bill of rights. If you go over to the tenants bill of rights and look for the section where it says you can't you know, interfere with the enjoyment, and actually look up the statute that is referencing.
I went to each of these statutes is what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that there is a particular section in one of these statutes that gives specifically what a community space is. That's
Okay,
what I'm saying.
I'm not seeing that here. Are you able
Okay.
Can
to
we,
refine that?
hey guys, I'm saying, I don't want, like, none of us are attorneys. So if there's something that we just really need in-depth information, can we agree to write it down and get some legal information on it? Because it'll take us all night to go back and forth based on,
I second that motion.
and the other thing is this, from experience, from knowledge, from different managers. I'm not saying years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth. Yes, it is a distinction. If in fact the coffee bar was working or not, you could sit in the lobby all night long. That's a community space.
Correct.
And you can drink coffee because some people work at night and some people work during the day. So it is against the rights of the tenants that they said, even when it was working, they said they're going to have it on from 6 a.m. to 12 noon. So that means you are controlling our hours in which we consume coffee. I can sit down there all night and do my work. That's why they have an overnight concierge, because the building, if in fact the stove was working, even if it wasn't, if I wanted to go down there and set up my own personal cook things and prep for an event in the morning, I have the right to do so. You can't shut it down or anything. But the doors going outside that will disturb residents, if that's the case, we will have to challenge, why is the gym open, which is a community gym, right? The stoves can be used anytime. I've done it. I used to cook there overnight and take my food to my event in the morning, and many chefs do and still do. So that is something that we're arguing. We have access to use that all we want. We just can't be doing anything that's going to disturb the rest and the peace and the comfort, which is why all the doors are locked. So y'all can find out further. But I don't want to spend like 3 hours talking about
Agreed.
the law.
We should move on to the main reason we're here, which is to plan the July meeting. Again, I'll say I like the approach we're taking on this. I just want to make sure we're correct.
Yeah.
Howard, you know, I know it was your goal to send it out today. If we could push that back a couple days and try, you know, we can try and reach back
Well, let
out.
me do some research and see if I can find the actual yes, I agree. I agree with you, Charles. I absolutely want to be sure that we're saying the correct thing, but let me see if I can find the actual statute.
So we'll go ahead and circle back on that.
Okay,
and take a look at that. I'm gonna give just a 1-2 minute quick update here on my conversation on a number of the questions we were having, and then I'm gonna pass it over to Yvette. I just want to quickly make sure I let y'all know. So I talked to him. We have the reservation for the 25th. We have that in the system. There was a bit of back and forth with, you know, I spoke to Dontrell, who sent me to concierge, who sent me to Dontrell, who sent me to Dom, but either way, it's reserved. The coffee machine is up and working now. They stayed with the same vendor. Originally he had told me that the cups being gone was not a new policy that they were having. It was simply they were gone while the machine was off, and when the machine was back on, the cups would return. In this most recent conversation, he changed that and said, we will expect people to bring their cups from home. It is in fact a new policy change. I reminded him of his previous statement and said, you know, we would like that. We would like this amenity to be, you know, complete. And he said, you know, he will look into it at least, and we can get back to him on that. So no promises there, but at the very least, he has not said outright no. He agreed to look into bringing them back. The stove that we were supposed to get a new stove at the end of last month or start of this month. He said that the card that was supposed to pay for that is supposed to get refilled on the 1st and the 20th. It has not been refilled, and he will need to put in a support ticket for that. I will follow up with him about that, you know, on the 21st or thereabouts. No, the coffee machine is back on, but I do not know the hours. I can follow up on that. Um, give me 1 second. I want to let Mike in here. So that is the coffee machine. I'll go ahead and follow him up. That's the stove. I'll follow up on around the 20th when the card's supposed to be refilled. I did get the chain of command. We had said that I would reach out to him and see if we couldn't find who at Graystar and Douglas. So essentially the leasing agents report to Dom, the property manager, who reports to Christopher, the regional manager, who reports to a man named Brad Harrison. Is the next person up at Graystar. So we can go ahead and move forward with that in terms of the escalation email that we were talking about the other week.
Did you get his, I'm sorry, Charles, did you get this? Did you get his contact information of Brad Harrison?
I don't have his contact information, but now that we have his name, I imagine we can easily find him on the website, or they all have the same structure.
Gotcha.
And then I did quickly clarify the structure over at Douglas. It is Ron who reports to Alex Staffer or Schaefer.
And I
So
know you guys need me to point out to you, Ron, what he looks like. He's here mostly all the time. He actually is lead grounds, operations for the maintenance and electrical people. He parks his car on the loading dock. You've probably seen him a million times. And yes, he talks to Staffer every day, all day. And Staffer pops his head in sometimes, Alex.
awesome.
So it's good to approach them sometimes when they're in the building, so you can physically say, may I show you this? May I have a conversation? Ron is open to doing that.
Perfect. Thank you. That is good to know. When so if we exhaust the Graystar chain that we had said we were doing, and we want to reach out directly to ownership and say we aren't getting a response, that is great to know. And then the last no, I'm sorry, two updates here. I spoke again with Dom about the welcome, the tenant union letter in the new resident welcome package. And he has reiterated that he's happy to put that in there whenever we're ready for it. As soon as we design it and print them out and give it to him, he will include it in the packet that they give to all new residents. So I said we can start designing that and get that to him sometime this month or next. And then lastly, I did check on the AC issue for the second floor. There was the issue of it being off during Fish Friday. The front desk saying that the reason was because management had taken the keys. I was very clear on this with him. He said there is no policy of that being turned off at any time. Certainly no policy of it being to get people removed. I was concerned. Apparently, not only was that not a policy, he had never considered it, because when I asked if that was what was happening, he said, no, but there is an idea, or something along those lines. To which I obviously encouraged that is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes, right. He's so hilarious.
Say it again.
I looked him up with Graystar, not like online or anything. I talked to a Graystar manager, and everybody embodies their strength, like what they're known for. They hired him because he is known for getting people evicted, stuff shut down, keeping people in place like the cleanup guy. That's why they in a modest way, they asked the other two Ericas to find another job in another building because they were too sensitive and too involved and too empathetic with our concerns. They wanted him because he has no empathy. And he's like, oh, that's an idea. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. He's gotten residents tickets. So, yeah, that's good. I wish you had that with an email, because when I addressed the court about some other issues and I went straight to landlord and tenant, they also told me that several people that went to court already for back due rent or different things, his posture was they need to leave, not how to work it out, not how to, mediate or come up with a solution, just clean up.
Well, I'll say though, you know, so he said clearly there is no policy of it being turned off at a certain time. It should be on an automatic schedule regularly, keeping it at a regular temperature. And if it isn't, then that needs to be a support ticket that gets put in for maintenance to look at. In terms of what was going on with the key thing, he was rather confused at that. He said the front desk doesn't have a key and shouldn't need a key because it should be automatically at a reasonable temperature. He has a key, but again, it should not be necessary. If there's issues, we should put in a support ticket. Any questions on that before we move to July planning?
I don't have any questions.
Awesome. We can just go ahead and keep an eye on the AC. If there's any issue there, it according to management is not a policy change. Yvette, over to you if you want to start talking about what we need to do for July.
Okay, so basically for the July meeting, as I mentioned before, I reached out to some chefs at Union Kitchen, specifically ones that I know the heck. And I hadn't got a response at that time, but I did get a response from Chef Devin, who is actually a resident. You met him before. He hosted a Taco Tuesday before, and he was telling me that he's coming up with a new line of pastas, that he is almost there with getting his pastas in the grocery stores as like a frozen dinner. So I said, this will be an opportunity for you to launch. You can cook, and we can have all the samples of your new items, and we can taste them, and I'll give you a moment, the floor, to talk about where can we find you, how do we order from you, and let us taste your new original pasta dishes. And I also said, if you could, because most of them were non-meat, like different versions of Italian pasta sauces, pesto, the cheese, the different, which is amazing. And he's actually a good chef. I said, let me know, because just want to add something to it to fluff it a little. So he's gonna do it. He's gonna send me the name and how to reach him, and logo or whatever it is, and he's going to do a demo. And I said, well, what can I help you with to make this event seamless? He said, Yvette, can you set up the chafing dishes? And he said, I'm only doing like a pan of each, maybe 3 pans. And I said to him, identify a pan, because that's another topic I want to talk about. When people say they're contributing, they need to know that it needs to be for 30 or 40 people, or ask for help, or contributions, because it makes no sense for us to say, hey, we're having a meeting, we're providing this, and it's a 1/3 or 1/4. So he's clear on that. We communicated that, and I said I'll do my best to see what I can add to it. I'll talk to the team. We can provide, lemonade, iced tea, and waters. And I'll see from the garden crew what vegetables are available, so we can make a salad and have the garden crew present it. I thought Lex would be on the call, so I can say, because his stuff is heavy pasta, and we can do a salad. but I wanted it to be all the things from the garden so that we can, let them know that this is what we're growing in the garden. Whether it be some flowers, we could set it up on the table. I wanted to get the garden crew involved so they can present and tell what we need if someone else is interested in starting.
Can I interject here for 1 second?
Sure.
So, and you're saying, they're providing and we want to make sure we have enough. I think if we wanted to fill in a little bit, I think Via might also be willing to work with us again if we wanted to make sure that we had enough food. They provided a pan last time, or up 2 pans. If
It's a conflict of interest for a seasoned chef that said he doesn't even want me to cook anything. So
So he would, so he's willing to sponsor it, but he would want to be the sole source of food.
When you presenting a brand, that's what I said. That's what you got me in this area for. That's a no. We don't want. He wants to launch. Launch means present my brand, how to find me, how to know, explore the taste of my food, and respectively, he knows how to do quantities. So
Okay.
when I say not enough, I meant we have a lot of vegetarians and vegans. So that's why I added something that may be non-cost effective and efficient by saying, if Lex was on the call, I know that he said he had kale and carrots. I know that someone else has tomatoes. I said to get them involved because they're tenants and they're not trying to sell food. So Gibellina, if he's doing pasta and they do something, it's a conflict of interest.
Okay, so I want to just make sure I understand. So he's going to provide enough food. We just want to fill in to make sure we have variety and stuff like that. He wants to be the only food sponsor because he's launching his brand, but he's okay with us having, other sponsors in other areas as long as he's doing the food.
I don't know how to answer it better for you, but it's a chef and he's putting his name out. He's going to have enough food. Will we help out? He's not going to have a salad and it's Italian. And so that it's not a conflict, a person that doesn't have a catering business or food business is thinking, if a resident says, well, I'll make some chicken. It's a resident, but not another chef, not Smokehouse, not Gibellina, not another name. He's launching his name, and there are a lot of rights to that, and I get it.
Right, of course, this is what I'm trying to ask. So if he is sponsoring the event and bringing the food and he wants, to be his name, and then we had say, beat the bomb, do the drinks, right? Like, because he's providing the food. Is that going to be an issue if we like,
No,
he
that's
wants
not
to be
an
the
issue.
only sponsor or he wants to be the only food
No,
sponsor?
Charles, the only food sponsor when you launch.
Thank you. That's what I was trying to ask.
Yeah. So people can bring, if you had let me finish, not saying, I'm just trying to move along because it's not rude. Please forgive my tone. I'm actually moving around making something. So I may sound anxious, but it's not directed towards you. All of this information is pertinent and you guys ask the best questions. So just don't take my body language and my speed of talk the wrong way. I'm just moving around and trying to sit still because I got something in the oven for a client and I'm trying to do this. Yes, you're right. We can get alcohol sponsors. We can ask somebody in the building who's a bartender. We can have a DJ. We also can have a bakery sponsor. So Dara is out of town right now. We have another baker that I left a message at the front desk because I don't have her number. She walks the dog. If any of you see her, the real big giant bulldogs, really nice young lady. Her and her sister look alike. She shared with me that she's a baker, right? And one time when we have an event, I also left a note because I don't have the manager for Tate Bakery. He gives boxes of croissants and donuts and stuff to Miss Easy and them every morning. I left a note with Daryl and her saying, on the 25th, will he sponsor us with homemade breads and desserts for our tenant meeting? And he can give us the information poster, board of the locations of all his stations, and I would market them. Okay. So yes, if you could find liquor, a baker, and the reason why I went to salad, Devin is not making a salad. Salad is not his brand for his business. When he's a meat and potatoes guy. So, but another headliner, like if I had a salad business, when you launch, you don't want another name. Like he don't want my name. I told him I can make something. He said, no, I'm trying to launch. And I know what that means in terms of chefing. So the other person I left information for, I mean, I talked to the manager, but she's out of town in the Dominican Republic at Mom's, one of them, but she referred me to another one, and I've been calling. I wanted Mom's to donate a gigantic salad from Naked Lunch because we are their highest contributors and we shop there every day, and they can have somebody talk about the benefits of this salad or even the juices. I haven't heard back, but I'll stay on top of it. So that's where we are with
Can I
that.
ask a quick question?
Sure.
So I'm loving what I'm hearing. It sounds like we got a lot of great irons in the fire in terms of who might sponsor. I'm wondering, I want to ask a question about timeline here in terms of when we need to get the flyers out, when we need to announce the meeting. If they want to sponsor the event, I imagine they want to be included in the like advertising and promotional. What date do we need to have all of the sponsors locked in by? How long do we want to give them to get back to us?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, moving forward, Devin is sending me what he want us to say because he doesn't necessarily have a logo, but he's sending us how to find them, how to order and a picture. And we can just do that. Many of us know him. You know him as well. You just don't know who I'm referring
No, I
to.
know him. I've met him.
Yeah. Yeah. But as far as Moms and all of them, that's an add-on. We don't even have to worry about including them. I think that the sooner the better. Tenants, their other complaint was, I didn't know about the tenant meeting until the day before, right? That doesn't prevent us from going forward. Those are additions. But as long as we locked in a meal.
Okay, awesome.
Secondly, plan B. Just say the garden say they don't have anything or they don't have enough. If you guys are willing, I'm willing. We could all just put together a couple of bucks and I can make a big salad, or somebody can make it, or someone in the team, just to have to go with it, because I'm talking about to create balance. I'm pretty sure we can get the baked goods from Tate. They need no introduction. We can just say, everyone knows when they go downstairs in the morning and Miss CZ had that stuff on the desk, it's from Tate. Okay. But I will get some information. So I think we should go forward just saying, hey, meet, the next meeting, and our tenant resident chef, Devin, will be hosting. Bam. That's done. Other stuff is pickle, peanuts. We could say bring your own liquor if we don't get a liquor sponsor. So if we do, we should go forward with saying BYOL. We'll have lemonade and iced tea and water. Then it will become a surprise if we have sponsorship from Beat the Bomb or someone. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, so if we wanted to have a sponsorship from Beat the Bomb, I don't think they'd want it to be a surprise. They do it for advertising, so we would definitely want to include it there. But so I just want to briefly make sure that we have it all in one place for the minutes. You're saying so far we have Devin confirmed for the food. We have a note out to Mom's Organic Market, Tate the Bakery, and who at the front desk did you leave notes for?
I told Miss CZ to have the manager call me, but I left him a description of what I want. But here's
The bakery.
Excuse me?
I'm just trying to get a list of all of the confirmed and potential sponsors. It's Devin for the food. It is Moms you reached out to. You reached out to Tate. You reached out to you mentioned a couple other names.
That's who I was confirming. But what I'm saying from a perspective of events, we want to gear this towards the resident satisfaction. We have several complaints about the last 2 meetings, and I know you like to do stuff from a cross your T and dot your I. I'm saying that as long as we have a main chef, yes, beat the bomb with one advertisement. That's easy. If they take 5 days to tell you yes, do we have the residents wait? So when I meant the word surprise, we should always lead with, and I wish Mike was on the call. Even if someone say, like Mike said for the Hex Tenant meeting, I'm gonna do
I'm on the
the
call.
right, the mimosas. But these things are expensive. So at the last minute, we like, oh, that's not gonna be enough. What I'm saying when I say the word surprise, if Beat the Bomb tell you Wednesday, I got y'all, I can do the liquor. They're easy to advertise. They're right across the street. We could say, give us your billboard or a sign. I'm not saying not market them. We definitely want to do that. I'm saying that I'm looking at the past meetings of what held us back from getting the message out on time. As long as we have a solid chef vendor and he's going to do enough food, I was just saying an economical way is Lex is one of the members of the garden. I'm sure Lex will come up with something for a vegetable. If not, I'm willing to invest. So I just don't want us to wait. And I'm coming from the perspective of silent moving around. You guys do an amazing job with, like Charles, you get the word out. You stand downstairs. Howard, you research. Mike, you market. Korea's new to this group, so I'm trying to distinguish exactly what she's doing in that effort. But I'm sure, when you say organizing things, all those things matter. What I'm saying is I'm a verbal person. I had some things working out. I don't want the irons in the fire to hold us up for being committed to the residents saying, I got all the information. Okay. That's all.
Yvette,
Yes.
so to make it easy, so we don't depend, and if you, like you said, if each of us can just get like a salad bag.
Yes, that I sent you that. I don't know if you got my email. I said I'm willing, like between all of us, with what you have at the garden and also me, it's not that expensive to create a big salad. And again, thanks for
I don't
trying.
think we have enough. I know that there was some lettuce in there, but they're not good. So I don't think it's enough
Well, I'm willing.
for the membership.
Yes.
So the best bet is if each officer, if you guys are willing, each of us donate, buy a 1 or 2 salad bag, maybe with a dressing.
Yeah. May I share something with you? At Restaurant Depot, which is wholesale, the lettuce spring mix and the other mix is $12, and we're talking about a big giant pack. Okay. So when you guys shop locally and buy from the stores, it's like $5, $6 for one pack. I could order a big pack. I'll order it up front, or I'll discuss with you guys and show you the price. It'll come out like we spending $20 to make a huge salad, and all of us put in $4.
So should we just like Venmo or Cash App you the money, Miss Yvette?
Yes, but I'd like to share with you what it costs, and I'll send you a picture so you can see, what you're buying, and I'm willing to take care of it. I wanted to share that with you guys. When we shop locally, now that our events are getting bigger, I have Restaurant Depot, I have Chef Table, wholesale things. You'd be surprised. I can get a big box of salad mix for about under 20, and then we all can just grab a dressing. Is that easy?
Okay. I'm okay with that. You guys are okay with that? So close that up.
Yeah, that sounds great. That sounds great to me. I'm definitely willing to do that. I did have one question here.
Sure.
So you were talking a bit earlier about getting the message out on time. I totally agree. We want to make sure everybody's hearing about it. So I just want to talk to everybody real quick about the calendar, the timeline here. When we want to have the agenda closed for new entries, what days we want to do the table, the flyer, stuff like that. Can we talk briefly here about the dates and times for the tables in the lobby? I'm thinking we want to do the day, you know, in the past we've done the day before to remind people and the weekend before to catch the weekend crowd. You know, we could also do one earlier if everybody has the time. How does the 21st and the 24th work for people?
You're always gonna get, for me, that's on you guys. I don't really get into the politics. Whatever you decide, I think you guys make the best decisions on that. I just get in, involved with visual and,
Wait, and,
hands on.
there's like dates for tabling.
Yeah,
I'm
this is dates for tables in the lobby.
Okay.
What time,
Um,
what is the time frame, Charles, when
So-
you're out?
So generally the way we've done it is 4 hour chunks, right? So we'll do like 4 to 8 to catch the people coming home from work, or we'll do 12 to 4 to catch the people, you know, going out like on a Saturday, Sunday afternoon, something like that. I was thinking we could do the 21st from 12 to 4, and we could do the 24th from 4 to 8.
Now, 4 hours for one person might be long. Maybe the 4 hours can be split by two people, 2 hours one person,
Exactly.
2 hours the other.
That's what I was hoping for, you know, in the past, just it's just whoever's been available. But if you know, if everybody's willing to take a shift, we can break this up a little bit. Um, do those dates work in general, and then we can figure out, you know, who's taking what time when?
Um, I have to get back with you if I'm going to contribute. I'm willing to. I just want to, check the schedule and say, hey, I could do an hour here. Also, I'm a little old fashioned. If does anybody have the capability to print out some little cute little flyer? I'll put them on the whole entire fifth floor at the door for the people that never check the email, never stop
Wait,
and say,
I'm sorry. So the agreement that we have with management is that they send out that email blast and put our TV up on the flyer, in exchange for us not going door to door.
okay,
That thing that
no
Howard was
problem, say no more.
okay.
And I can help with printing out documents. I prefer free at work.
And also, guys, the elevator, right? Where they put the dog of the month. We could just stick one, and I'll continue to do what I'm doing. I'm a hands-on person, so if I see people, I just saw a new resident today, and I saw a resident returning, and they were like, "You still here?" That's another topic. She has been subletting her apartment out for 5 years, and she let other people use it, but she returned. And she said, "But I saw something about Taco Tuesday," and I said, "Yeah, come." So I'm not, we have an excellent two that joined the team. Monique is willing to be like on the Taco Tuesday thing and everything and letting people know. She will do, and I move silently. The people that we never see, just touch them and say, "Hey,." We have a meeting, So I'll do that footwork, okay? But we have great method with the podium, the thing that they advertise at the front. I will give you a time tomorrow that I can give an hour or so to stand down or relieve or join Charles or whomever. Okay.
Awesome. That sounds great. So I guess we can go ahead. We'll follow up on exact days and times for the table offline. Kari, you're correct in the chat here. About we are prohibited from putting flyers there. That's the general agreement that we have. You know, we could renegotiate that if we chose to, but you know, I don't
No,
think
we can stay. We have so much to. I mean, it's okay. It's just that. Do you know? I see flyers on my floor. Somebody posted the marijuana flyer where you can scan and buy it, and it's been here every day, and it's been in the elevator. So I didn't know. And they post stuff, late rent notices and notices about the fire alarm. So I didn't know it was a law. The
no,
tenant.
no. The agreement that we have with them was they would, even though we have the legal right to canvass, we have they have asked us not to, and we have agreed to that in exchange for allowing the flyers on the TV and the email blast to the whole building.
I think
Got
it's
it.
different. It's different if like an individual resident does it versus if it's coming from like an officer. Then like it's, I think that's right, Charles. Like it's different because I've seen the cannabis flyer too, but I think it's different if it's the individual resident versus like the tenant.
Agreed. Agreed, absolutely. You know, and I don't even know if the person who's doing that marijuana flyers is a resident. You know, regardless, you know, we can go ahead and take a look at that another time if we want to.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's not that serious. We'll get it.
So
So in reference to events, I don't want to spend a long time because I don't know what the time frame was. But April, I emailed you something earlier and text you, and you said you couldn't look at it at the time. Maybe after, as the secretary, if you read through it and
Yeah.
then maybe you can condense it and share it, in a better way. We don't have to spend the whole time talking about all of that. But also, I landed a microphone, a mic, um in reference to tables. I just want to move along. I mean, not tables, chairs and seating. Again, I have access to go get 10 to 15, chairs also. And you can let management know we're doing it. We have chairs throughout the building that are not utilized, meaning on the third floor patio areas, not the real heavy stuff. I'm talking about lightweight little bar stools and chairs. I can do a count, like how many we have. Also, what you guys don't know, I don't know if they locked it, but through where the lockers are on the second floor, and that's a thing that you would ask, I can ask Ron, right? Ron, the guy, they pulled all the original patio bar stools and straw chairs. It's locked behind that door where the dry cleaning, boxes are on the second floor. And if you walk to the back, there's a big giant room, and it has tons of the old furniture that they pulled off. Not old meaning torn and dilapidated like the ones that are existing, meaning they moved it out of an event space and they never decided where they were going to put it. I can find out. That door used to be accessible. It's locked, but it's just a matter of saying, hey, you guys have another room that blah, blah, blah. May I see for our meeting? That will save us money. We're not in a position to be renting. If we're having it in the cellar, or I mean, if we're having it on the second floor, we can pull some of the bar stools from the cellar. You know, I don't want it to be a whole giant expense moving situation. I have a mic, I have a podium.
can I ask, is the microphone wireless or wired?
I'll find that out.
Thank
Donnie, our neighbor, he has one, and he has a speaker that goes to it. To
Awesome.
force, okay.
I know that one. It's a wired
Yeah.
mic set.
Can I
But
say
I
something?
believe it's
I'm sorry.
detachable though.
Say again. So I have a wireless mic. The only thing we need to do is plug it into. As a matter of fact, I'm going to bring it down tonight just to test it out. I have several microphones, and I know Monique normally brings her big speaker. So I think between her big speaker and my wireless mic, that essentially it plugs into the outlet. I think that'll work. But I'm going to bring it down tonight just to make sure if it works, just to check it
And
out.
I'll shoot Donnie a text and say bring that one too, so we could test it.
And I don't have it tonight, but I also have access to the same speaker and microphone setup that we used at the June meeting, if we want to do that. Helpful if it's wireless, but if it needs to be wired, that's fine. We just want to make sure, it doesn't have the like slight delay that can make it impossible to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Not a
Um,
problem. It's good to test it. We'll test some things tonight. And the DJ that lives here, most DJs have a mic that is attached to their audio system, so we can reach out to him. But when me and Donnie talked, I said, oh, because I ordered one, but the one that I wanted, I wanted for myself as well. It may not be here on Thursday.
Yvette, have we decided where we're going to have the event at yet? Are we going
Well,
to do it in the basement?
Can I recommend the cellar? It has more space, it has more chairs that don't have to be moved, and it has the TV in case we need to do the presentation with the Office of Planning.
Yes, I agree.
I'll check again with Devin, because when I asked him, I said, do you have a preference, the cellar or upstairs? He said second floor, because, to him as a chef, it's like a kitchen. But it's not a problem. I'll tell him that we chose the cellar, and I'll get him Well, Howard, you showed me how to manipulate the light, right? And I'll just get an extra table if he needs it. It shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, I think he can set up on the bar like he would
Yeah,
like he would on the second floor. And it's like, it's not like he needs the kitchen because the kitchen areas we don't have
don't
working
work.
working equipment. Yeah.
Yeah, not a problem. Close. And also I sent April a list of some ideas for events going forward and a mission statement
Um,
and
can I
some things.
interject one more question before we go to that?
I didn't want her to, I didn't want us to go to it tonight. I wanted her to send it to all of you guys and review it because I don't want to take the time up
Gotcha.
on it. But yeah, sure. Ask your question.
I'm sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt. I thought we were changing topics. I wanted to. So I noticed for the Taco Tuesday that we hosted together, our plan had been to give ourselves an hour to get everything ready. We ended our meeting here, and then showed up 1 hour beforehand, and we were behind. We took an extra while people were waiting. Do we want to, the meeting starts at 7. Do we want to give ourselves more time and say the officers will show up at 5 to start setting up?
Well, that's something
I won't be
I
able
was.
to show up at 5. I get off. Well, I'll let you go and see that, but I won't be able to show up at 5.
Well, I will say this going forward, and I was preparing a document to show you guys standard operating procedures for an event, period, that you can utilize for your personal lives as well as for the for resident events. Whenever you do an event, based on what it entails, microphone, DJ, speakers, chalkboards, videos, PDFs, you should allow yourself 2 hours set up time. If you finish before that time, awesome. Then you get a chance to communicate, go change clothes, but it's very unprofessional. And I'm always going to look at it that way, to say that you're doing a thing and then you're like, people are coming. We lose the audience, we lose the integrity, we use the trust of people. Some people really are schedule driven. They said they're doing food at 8, and then at 8 they come and say, oh, y'all not ready. I go back. I'm saying this to say, if I was teaching you guys to do a seamless event, 2 hours. Now some of you work, the meeting time is this time. If you say I can't do it, it's 5 of us, 6 of us. I'm just throwing a number. I can't count right now. 2 of us may be home early. We can pitch in. Some of the stuff we can say we set up the, night before, like if it's not something that we trust that's going to get stolen, or that way we're a team. It is not professional to be scrambling. There may be one person there that is able to bring something great ideas or support, and they left because we didn't get started to 9:30. So I would say yes. Every time we schedule something, I thought we were doing this meeting today to talk so that we can get most of the things out of the way so that we won't be the day of going like, y'all, let's have a meeting and topics get intense and we're not down there. It shows that we're not organized and we're not taking this serious, and it loses the value. So yes, 2 hours before, that doesn't mean everyone have to do it.
So,
Someone just do one thing.
I'm available to be there at 5. It sounds like Yvette will be available to be there at 5. Mike, we understand you got to work. No worries. As Yvette was saying, there's 7 of us. Is anybody else available to show up at 5 to help set up? That's okay.
I'm sorry, which date is this? This is on that day, Thursday. I can. So far, I'm available.
Okay, awesome.
I shot Monique a text, and I plan on, maybe you could do it. I don't have his information. The new subcommittees that joined the team. Monique won't be able to do it at 5 because she doesn't work from home that day, but she said whatever she need prior to. And I told her I'm gonna buy some juices, lemonade mix, if she can mix those the night, before, so I can provide some beverages or something. But I promised Devin I would set up at 5 because the chef definitely needs that amount of time to get the food on the warmers. So yes, I'll be there at 5, and Charles will be there. Devin requested if somebody could, because he gonna have the pans of food. He's right behind us by the shelter, the men's shelter at Union Kitchen. He said, Yvette, I might need you to bring your cart or somebody to put the, food on or whatever or something, because I'm gonna still be cooking, whatever. So yeah, I'm gonna volunteer myself at 5.
Awesome. Awesome. It sounds like at least several of us should be able to be there so we can get this set up, and then, everybody else can just show up as early as they're able to, so we can give ourselves a little bit of extra time. Yvette was talking about the committee, and I think that's a great segue. We don't have the exact agenda figured out for the meeting. We have, a general purpose of collecting concerns. I want to make sure, if we only have a couple minutes left here, to talk about how we're going to collect those concerns, what the agenda is for the meeting, and so we aren't sitting there like, hang on, what are we doing now? What's the next thing? We really know, like, we're organized.
Before let me interject here. It's 7:20 currently and no one's responded. Does the meeting need to go to 7:45 so we can thoroughly cover all topics and matters at hand?
I mean, I think if people are willing, we certainly have the stuff to discuss, but if people need to, what do y'all think?
I'm
okay with
open.
45.
I can do till 7:45, but I have a hard stop at 7:45 because I have a group meeting at 8 that I have to prepare for.
Awesome. We'll do 7:45. So I guess the first question, in terms of the agenda, is the only thing on the agenda collecting the concerns, or have we heard from Office of Planning?
So yeah, we have, okay, so we have heard from Office of Planning. I was saying earlier that I'm waiting for, just to get, I was waiting for Yvette to do her spill so I can see exactly where we're going to meet at. And so now that I know that we are going to be doing the meeting at the cellar, in the cellar, I can move forward with them to go ahead and schedule them, because I believe that they want to come out and do a presentation. So they just need to plug their laptop into the system.
Awesome. Are we we said we were giving them 30 minutes for that, right?
Yeah, they said 25. I think we should just give them a 4 because I think when they initially were going to just meet with us, they told us, I think, 20 minutes. But now that it's going to be the full, I think we should allow 30 minutes for them.
Okay, awesome. And then I imagine there will be, at least a couple. Are we allowing questions from the audience, or it's just presentation and leave?
I told them, I told them for them to expect, kind of their presentation and answer any concerns or questions they have, because they are also going to take our concerns back to the mayor or back to their department and use it so we don't have to show up for the, it's essentially they're essentially putting on in a one of those presentations where they would do it in the church for the main residents of the community. They're essentially doing that for us. And so, they will have some feedback from our residents that they're going to take back to, to their office.
I just want to point out here, I went to that meeting, right? They had a meeting at Trinity Baptist Church the other day, the other month, where they did one of those presentations. It was a solid like 2 hours. Where they went through it and there were questions, right? If their presentation is 30 minutes and the whole point that they're coming is to hear feedback from the residents, we don't have a lot of time during meetings, but I want to, like, be organized and be realistic, right? Is 30 minutes enough time for them to give their presentation and hear questions?
Well,
go ahead.
Well, may I say something? Is there a way? I mean, we have this amazing marketing crew, and you guys do secretarial minutes. Is there a way that we can just send out to the residents, so-and-so is coming to our next meeting? What are some of the concerns you have based on these topics? And then we can streamline it, and then we can give it to them and say, these are the questions from our residents, and then we're helping them go right into the dialogue.
Yes, yes. I was
Yeah,
gonna.
I think that that's a
That's a
great
great
idea.
recommendation. Yes, and so yeah, so they did send me a kind of a blurb that has, you know, with links to really germane things that's going to affect us directly, and so it does condense it to about 4 pages, I think, as opposed to the 40 or 50 pages the entire plan is. They did send that to me, so we can copy that portion and send it, you know, and when we send out the invitation to the meeting or the notification, we can put that in that or put it in an agenda or somewhere where residents can have access to it. And then we simply have them send their concerns into us. We
I have
then
some.
correlate that, and then we, you know, we present that to them like we would, like we were going to do for our issues and concerns.
Awesome.
Absolutely. And I have some to give to you. I haven't bumped into Ron. I have his number, but I know that he is anxiously, preparing for the grand opening of the DC Go-Go Museum. But I told him about the meeting and he could speak to those matters or give us
Right.
some background
So
information.
also, I'm sorry. I got you. I got you. I'm sorry.
No problem.
I'm sorry. Did we just say that Ron is going to speak during the meeting? Because that's
No,
like,
no. I did not say. I said I spoke to him a couple of weeks ago about does he have anything that his concerns was, and because he is a powerful political leader and he was the one that pointed out he doesn't want the integrity of the neighborhood to go down if certain things are added. I said I text him and I was waiting for his response. And he said, Vet, I've been so busy with the opening. So I can touch bases with him again to see. Not everybody don't have to be a speaker. And some people are trained speakers where they know how to say, I got 6 minutes to voice this and move on. I'm just letting you know what I'm working on and seeing if he would give us some details. It may be a document that says when you add this to your neighborhood, it brings down the quality, and our concerns are this, right? The crime or this. But again, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate. We don't even have a bunch of low income such and such a now, and our building is a piece of shit. It's like the ghetto is of all. People are having sex downstairs. We don't have security. It was gunshots yesterday. The furniture is torn apart. Like
Okay.
So I'm saying my concern is how do we have a better living? I didn't want him to come and give a long speech because the residents kind of be like, oh, another speech, another speech. But what I was saying was I'll see if I can get some information for him, like an article or one little thing or one little page of why he think this or
Well, you know
what.
what, Yvette, I think what he can do is he can do what like the rest of the residents are going to do is kind of voice his concerns, however way we decide to kind of open that up for the residents, versus him kind of coming in and giving a spill. Because I'm very much in cahoots with Charles in this. I don't want to make it seem like we are saying that we don't want low income people coming in. I
Yeah,
want to hear his
yeah, I don't
concern.
want to say that either. I mean,
Okay.
'cause I'm just saying that my concern is I talk to a lot of residents
Yeah.
socially, and they say, "Oh God, we had to hear all the speech. It was 3 hours." So I'm trying to say, okay, this is an area where we could just cut back on these. Like here's a
Mhm.
document. Let's make it quick. Give them what our concerns are, and then they come prepared. We're getting them prepared to to say to answer the questions without them people raising their hand. Go, I got a question. I got a
Gotcha.
question. And then also, whoever has a relationship with the DJ, we can do stuff I have to do exercises with my students when they get fatigued, and they're adults. They're not kids. They out, grown ups. You'll say, take a 15-minute break and we play some music and get some food, and then we can come back. Those
Gotcha.
are things that just so it won't seem like we are having. We don't want the residents to say, last time they talked for 3 hours.
Right,
Then
gotcha.
they,
So let me ask you this thing, guys. So a few things. One, Charles. So number one. So I think that's the easiest way. I think we should take Yvette's advice on that or suggestion and kind of put it out to the residents prior to the meeting, perhaps a week before, like when we send out the notification. But also, are we also expecting our new subcommittees to give a report? One, and then my second question is, are we, I know that one thing we have the list of issues that we want to address, and we're going to put them in, I guess, priority, order of priority. Are we also going to send that to the residents so that, because this could possibly be a 2 or 3 hour meeting, I guess. I think it goes from 8 o'clock until 10. So I think we have the time, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm sorry, say that last part again.
I think we may have the time if we're going to give, allow 30 minutes for them. And I think 30 minutes is okay if we send the pre-information out to the residents. And then also, are we expecting a report from our subcommittee? And then second of all, I'm saying the last question, I guess I'm trying to figure out is whether, what are we doing with the list of concerns? Are we expecting them to, are we expecting to kind of, I guess, list them in priority so that we can give them to the management company, within a week of this meeting or so?
So this is exactly why I wanted to make sure we had the time really clear, and how much we were using, because we only have about 2 hours. And, as Yvette was saying, there's a whole bunch of different issues. And I don't think that we're going to have time to raise an issue, let everybody say their piece on an issue, and then propose solutions and vote on which solution, right?
Right.
For every single issue that we want to talk about. I think that's not a great use of time. It's what the committee was for, right? The whole reason we have this short-term committee is so that they can take that work that's not suited for a full meeting and do it themselves. What I think we want to do here as Howard was saying, let the short-term committee, give a report on how they're getting started, speak to the people, and then just hear from the residents, here are our concerns, and just kind of collect that list, you know what I mean? And then we can focus, if we want to, send over to management, we can focus on the urgent things. We can focus on the uncontroversial things that have a clear solution. We just need to make our position on it clear to management. But I think if we're trying to create a comprehensive list of every issue and its solutions and our position, we're going to run out of time really, really quickly.
No, I'm sorry. That's not what I'm saying. So we already have a list of issues.
You mean from the first meeting?
Yeah. So the issue that you put on the shared drive. So I'm talking about. So I'm not saying that we need to actually. I also don't think that we need to be opening up our meetings to all the tenants at a certain point. I think we need to maybe open up for particular topics. Because we could be there all day. I think that the residents.
Yeah, and I was gonna say not to cut you off, Howard. Too, I don't think that the meeting should be longer than 2 hours. Honestly, I think a ideal tenant meeting should last between 60 to 90 minutes, just because of fatigue and keeping people focused, and then we don't want decreased engagement. So I feel like a 2 hour block should be more than enough, honestly.
And even given that,
some of it is about entertaining.
I'm sorry, I wasn't finished. I'm sorry. Let me just finish this.
Sorry.
So even that the 2 hour meeting, I think that could also be streamlined in a sense that is how we put the information out there prior to the meeting. I think that we should be sending these issues or these topics out, gathering information, and then prior to the meeting, having folks send that information in, and then our secretary or whoever, somebody comes in and compiles that information to a very easily digestible way for us to deliver it to them. So if we have 20 people telling us that of course that I don't know, the heat is not working or something like that, as opposed to going to each 20 person, we know that's an issue that we need to address. If we have 20 people saying yes.
Yeah, this is Lex. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I concur with drawing an outline and having that streamlined, and also allotting certain times as we're doing with the agenda here. So yeah. I think the outline should come from us. It should be coherent with the meeting of whoever's in charge of the subcommittees, and that outline should be presented so we are streamlined and based on what we're doing on a timetable. Where, yes, like you said, so I agree with you on that.
I mean,
Yes.
exactly. I think we have allotted time for each thing, right? We don't like, I agree with Mike that 2 hours is plenty for a meeting, especially
Mhm.
where we're just trying to collect concerns, right? I think we allot time. We just want to like we don't want to try to do the work of the subcommittees for them,
But what
right?
I'm saying, okay, what I'm saying is we should not be collecting issues at the meeting. That's going to be a monumentous
No, no, no. I
waste
think
of time.
we covered that. We said starting now, even tonight, we're going to socialize. We need to get all the concerns, whether you do it by saying scan us and put it on the website and we review it. When we invite these guests, they already have it a couple of days before so they can address it properly. That's streamlining. We can't fix everything overnight. Rome
Yeah.
wasn't built overnight. But the main agenda should be our safety, our parking, our blocking of use of amenities, the heat control. My concern about the heat, because I'm a chef and I had to get licensing for certain stuff with the atmosphere. Do you know that if you even on the fifth floor, you guys talked about the second floor, it is extremely warm, right? Which grows and breeds bacteria, especially in this climate. And
Right. So my thing,
grossly, wait, we just need all buildings have to have a regulated temperature. It can't be different. We're going to get sick. We're going to contract diseases. I Somebody's dog pissed on the fifth floor in front of the
Yvette,
elevator. It stayed there all weekend because the housekeeping had
Yvette,
to do.
Yvette.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay, I understand what you're saying. What I'm trying to figure out, this is not the time to actually address the issues. What we're trying to do is figure out how the best way to get the issues from our end, from our residents or from us to put it
I
in
thought we passed that though an hour ago.
we're
We
not,
said
because what you're talking about now is you're talking about the issues of like heat and all that stuff. We're not, I'm trying to figure out
no, no, no. Listen, I thought we said it was a good idea to get our residents to email the committee leaders, you guys, us on the website,
okay,
or communicate with them and find out what their major topics
okay.
were.
I didn't know that we ever
Then we
figured it
condense. No, everyone said that's a great idea. And then we said we would condense them through, i.e., the secretary, subcommittees, us, right? And we present them to the powers to be or whoever's coming so that we can look prepared and be prepared and consolidate in the list of priority. That gives us the opportunity. Say we have 15 issues, it's 300 people here. Their issue may not even be ours. They may not be
right.
concerned. We can consolidate and we can say, hey, on July, our focus is this. August, we're going to press this.
Can I just say one thing here? I like the direction this is going. I'm fine with however we choose to collect concerns, right? However we choose to then share that right at this meeting with residents. The only thing that I want to emphasize is that let's not try to do the work of the committee for them, right? Let's bring in the committee at this meeting. Let's empower them to do what we tasked them to do.
What does that mean, Charles? You said that like a few times. I don't quite understand what that means.
Well, so the whole reason that we created the committee is that collecting the issues, determining what to do about them, right? Determining how we want to address it, and what our position on it, and then prioritizing them is a lot of work, which takes a lot of time, right? And,
So,
and
right, are you saying that's the kind of charter that's what the
that's what the charter of the committee says that they're
Gotcha.
tasked with doing.
Okay, gotcha. So I guess my question, and just to follow up with that, is then should we not even for right now, just because this is our first meeting where the committee will be kind of involved, should we allow them to address that so that way they have an email that they want to have people send them issues directly to them? Should we kind of like maybe remove ourselves from that, the main, like, you know what I mean, the minutia of it all?
Yes and no. Earlier in the meeting, that's why I was saying I wasn't trying to be rude. I mentioned Monique. I said she got access to 7 different text groups for Taco Tuesday, for this event, for that. I was like, Monique is very organized with letting people know and getting the information out. I said we can appoint one of our officers. Remember I said that? And I said Monique would be willing. Then I said the other guy, I don't know his name, but he joined the team as well. And he has experience with coordinating events. I was like, we can elect two to say, what are your main topics? Monique, and they could decide how they want to do that. And they can report to us also on the offset just to make sure everyone is involved. Remember, I said I will talk to certain people that never show up, that you don't have their text message, you don't have their information, and say, what are your main concerns? Just give me three. It's a million, but give me three. And we will all come together, either share it with each other like we're doing now on our text and say, woo, we might find out somebody has a total different issue. We consolidate them.
I'm still confused. I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm not getting this because I feel like we're going around in a circle here. So nobody's.
I do feel like we're kind of going in circles, and also we have like 5 more minutes. I don't want to be that person. I know we have a commentary. Can we talk about
we didn't get
action
anywhere with
items?
this meeting. Okay.
Yeah, can we talk about action items?
Really,
Because I do have
Howard,
to
you
hop
would
off.
say that we didn't get anywhere? I think
We
that
still
you
don't have.
you spend, wait a minute, you spend like an hour on legal stuff as if we're attorneys. Then we go to something that we could.
Hang on. Let's.
No, we said what Mason
Wait,
was to ask the residents.
hang on. There are a lot of things that we need to discuss. We have discussed many of them tonight, but there are still there are a lot of logistics that go into this. We will need to keep discussing. We need to figure out exactly what we're doing. Part of that can be offline with each other. Part of that can be at our next officer meeting, and part of that can be in the group chat. But clearly there's still plenty to discuss. We're out of time now. I want to, I agree with Michael. I want to respect when we agreed that we would stop. I know Michael has a hard stop, so do many of us need to get to Taco Tuesday. So let's call it there for tonight. But we need to very quickly here over the next couple days clear up exactly how, like, the purpose that we're doing here, how we're going to approach it. I think it's pretty clear what we want to do. We just need to figure out how we're going to do it, and how we bring in the short-term committee to that function. We need to figure out the flyer and the email and the announcement. We will get that done. We have the next meeting as well to do that.
Well, Charles, I just want to point out, we should, I don't know if it's in our bylaws, but I think that we said that we were going to have at least the notification, the email sent out a week prior to the meeting date, which would give us Tuesday.
Curry, if you could advise on that offline in the group chat. I was hoping we would get to it tonight, but obviously we've run out of time. We need the flyer to go out, we need the language for the email blast, and we need the official announcement to the members. All of those need to happen sometime this week. I was hoping we would say, the 18th is this, the 19th is this, but that's okay. We'll do that offline. We need to figure out what day the flyer is going up on the TV. We need to make an announcement, but before we can make an announcement, before we can get the flyer on the TV, we need to figure out, exactly how we're going about this. So we still have some stuff to figure out here.
So will this, because I feel like that was a mouthful, Charles. Will we be conferring on this via like Signal? Is there going to be another special meeting that we need to have? Are we dividing and conquering? Like, I'm not sure if we have someone to do the flyers. I don't mind also helping out on that. And I'm just trying to figure out like who's doing what and when are we going to be making these decisions? Like, is it via another meeting or are we just going to be like chatting via Signal?
All right. So let's say this. First, we have the meeting on the 23rd that we have to work. I don't know about y'all. I'm willing to have another planning meeting. I don't know what your schedules looks like. We can use the last couple minutes on a vote for that. I think obviously we would have plenty of things that we could discuss there. And then we also have Signal. Do we want to take a quick vote on if we have time this week for another planning meeting?
What's the proposal?
That works for me. I won't be able to do it like until like maybe the Friday or Saturday, like or the weekend, because like this week I have like back-to-back events in class. So if we do another planning meeting for me, it would probably have to be like either Friday or this weekend.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's see, how about we have a motion on the floor for another planning meeting on Friday the 19th at 6 p.m.
I might not be able to attend that. I know I have a
I
tour.
can't do that one either.
Okay.
Friday,
Yeah,
Sunday,
Fridays are hard. It's the
Yeah,
last
I agree.
day.
Like Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Weekends are just horrible meetings.
Like,
What
so
about
it's
if- what
hang on. It sounds like we're all in agreement about the need to have another meeting. It's just a question of when do we have the meeting? Is that correct?
Well,
Yes.
Charles, I think Charles, maybe if you have the agenda, you broke it down and the turn, so we can just maybe respond through like a shared document. Yeah, a shared document. We can go from there. How about
Oh
that?
yeah. Okay, yeah. I like that as well.
Well, I mean, I'll point out, you know, the questions that we were going over today aren't really a matter of like, what is the what's the agenda, what's happening when. It's more like, how are we doing this in general? You know what I mean?
Statistically, yeah.
Like the issue is not, okay, do we do this first or do we do this first? The issue is, what are we doing? Which is difficult to figure out in a group chat.
we can try to think on it and text each other like we've been doing. You've been very informative. Everyone's busy Friday. Throughout the week, it's Tuesday. You come up with something tomorrow. Can we do a group chat and say this, that, or the other? What's our operating procedure? What we
Or
gonna do?
Charles. Yeah, I like that idea, Yvette. But also, Charles, I think you're really good at kind of pulling people aside as we're at like socially and say, hey, what do you think about that? And then all of a sudden we come to a consensus of like,
Okay.
Okay, you know what I mean? I think you're really good with that. And so
I'm fine
maybe
with
we
that
don't need to
if
have a
that's
full
okay with
meeting.
you all. I'm fine doing that if that's okay, if that's how we want to handle this one.
Yeah.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, awesome. In that case, we'll go ahead, wrap up real quick here. Get everybody off the phone. Thank you for coming. Lots more to discuss. We will talk in the group chat and offline. I will see y'all on the 23rd at 6 p.m. for the regular officer meeting.
Sounds
Okay.
good. All right, guys. I'll see you guys
Great.
this evening.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. Thanks everyone.